Hey, so remember that time when Zagtoons was going to make a Power Rangers animated movie? Let's talk about that. So, a while back, I think about a year or so ago, actually no, 2 years ago, there was an unmade animated teaser by Zagtoons for an animated Power Rangers movie called Power Rangers Origins. You can probably still find it on YouTube, and I think the reason why it didn't go through was because at the time, Hasbro was buying the rights to Power Rangers and taking away from Nickelodeon. So that's probably why it didn't go through, because and also Zag had its own problems at the time. But for the 1.1 of you who don't know what I'm talking about with Zagtoons is basically, you probably know them best for their animated show Miraculous Ladybug. And if you guys know, I used to be a fan, but as of recent seasons and the developers being giant pieces of shit, both Jeremy Zag and Thomas Astrick, I've basically kind of moseyed on out of the fandom. And I think a lot of fans are getting tired of this, so yeah. So I just want to talk about, like, what would it have been like if we had gotten a Power Rangers cartoon from them. Now, first off, let's talk about the good. Power Rangers cartoon. Yes, we've always wanted a Power Rangers animated series. I think a lot of us have wanted to see a really well-done Power Rangers show. Animated-wise, you could do so much with animation, and I think it's something like it's the next step. And I do think that we will be getting a Power Rangers cartoon at some point, because I do think Hasbro does want to experiment with that. I think Hasbro really wants to really play with this and really have a stamp on it, like their own stamp on Power Rangers now that they own the rights to it. So therein lies. So I do think it is going to be a cartoon. There is going to be a Power Rangers cartoon, and yes, the animation from that teaser looked really well. Of them using the dinosaurs as like a power up. And the dinosaurs and prehistoric mammals as a power up. That was really cool. The Megazord looked a little janky, but I will forgive it because it was meant to be just a teaser. So maybe they would have cleaned it up. And therein lies that's where I'm basically gonna stop. That's all the praise I would have given. Because Zag, if anything, if you give Zag the right amount of animation credit and like the right studio, then they can give you some really good animation. Look at some of the episodes from Miraculous Ladybug to prove my point. But herein lies the problem. It's not the animation I'm worried about. Although, yes, there are some Ladybug episodes where it's very obvious that the animation is not great. It's the writing. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, the writing for Zag. Oh, I think a lot of you Ladybug fans already know where I'm going with this. No, I'm not still salty about what they did to Chloe. Stop looking at me like that. Oh, Lord. So, and I know what you're going to say. And you'd be like, well, Power Rangers never really had a great storyline. It was just, teenagers meet up. They fight monsters. They make giant robot. They rinse and repeat. That's how it goes. Yeah, but here's the problem. We've kind of evolved since then. Now, I'm not going to ding your basic Power Rangers structure, because that's literally every Power Rangers live action. But here's the thing. Is that while Power Rangers is at its core, in a nutshell, rinse and repeat of fight monster, go home, there's now been like a precedent for another level of Power Rangers. Like, even back then, even back in, like, with Lost Galaxy, SPD, so many other, like, early Power Rangers, like In Space, RPM, there are tons of Power Ranger shows where I can point to where it's like, yeah, it was still a kid's show, but it still got kind of dark, where it still was able to, like, really push on those, those boundaries for a while. Like, Lightspeed Rescue is another great example of that. Like, the two best ones are Lightspeed Rescue and Lost Galaxy for, like, really delving into some dark themes. And, yeah, Like, and again, like, even in present-day Power Rangers, like, there's some moments with that. I mean, granted, not a lot of, but it's still there. I mean, it has kind of gone back to the formula since when it was under Nickelodeon, but I have a feeling that Hasbro's going to be really changing that up at some point once they figure out what to do. And also, let's also not forget about the other major factor that has kind of brought Power Rangers back into a major forefront. The Boom Studio comics. Yeah, let's not kid ourselves here. The Boom Studio comics have been, by far, the single best Power Rangers anything. That's not even hyperbole. That, or metaphor, or whatever fucking, example you want, description you want to use. It's the best Power Rangers thing ever. Like, if it weren't for the comics, we wouldn't see this massive resurgence. Like, no. Really look at it. When did Power Rangers really start to make a roaring comeback? It was roughly when the comics were really starting to kick in. And the exact moment I know when it was really starting to kick up in, major fan love was the Dracon story arc and of course Shattered Grid, which again, it blows my mind that Shattered Grid, outsold Marvel and DC every time it came out. Like, it still blows my mind. If you go back and look at those sales, like, it blows my mind that this Power Ranger comic was outselling Marvel and DC. I don't know if it was that... Well, was that good, but I don't know how well the products were at the time with Marvel and DC, so, take that as you will. Anyway, so therein lies the big problem, and I vaguely remember an interview where they were talking about Power Rangers Origins, that was the name of the animated film, was that they wanted to compete with the comics. Oh, Thomas Astruc, you dumb son of a bitch. You have nowhere near the writing style of Ryan Parrott or Kyle Higgins. You're too busy fighting on Twitter and trying to make yourself a self-insert into your cartoons because you're kind of weird like that, and also forgiving your complete lack of character arcs, and as well as redemption arcs. What are those? And also making your completely heinous main character this goddamn OP Mary Sue at some points. I really feel bad saying that, but like, you guys agree. It disgusts me when I say Mary Sue, because it makes me sound like such a fucking incel. But sometimes when you go back and watch those episodes, especially the season 2 finale, where they're like, oh, Marinette, she's so pure and lovable. I was like, really? Did everyone just forget that she took she basically single-handedly caused Chloe to just go back to being a villain, and even worse? Like, no, if she had just given the Be Miraculous to Chloe, they would have taken out the problem even better, but no, she just got jealous of Kagami and basically did it to spite Chloe, and also have this weird obsession with keeping Kagami away from Adrian. I really hate the word and also, again, like Master Fu says, she's the greatest guardian ever. Like, no one calls Marinette on her bullshit. It's stupid. But what about Gang of Secrets, that new episode? It's really dealing with a lot of the trauma. Oh, fuck off. Just fuck off with that. Because I know for a fact, I've been watching the show long enough to know that this basically is going to be like watching the Atlanta Falcons. Watching them completely take a great lead and then choke at the end. It's literally like watching the Atlanta Falcons when I'm watching Ladybug. So, anyway, I love to throw in football stuff when I'm talking about videos. So, let's just say, like, for sake of argument, what would it have been like if Zagtoons has gone ahead with Power Rangers? Well, you can see that there was a lot of Power Ranger inspiration from Miraculous, as well as Spider-Man and Sailor Moon. But, yes, there is, like, rinse and repeat. New monster shows up, they gotta fight the new monster, that's all of that. Now, here's the problem with Zag. They are not great with juggling multiple characters. It's very obvious when they do the Miraculous teams. Also, they really, if you think they're making Chloe a psychopath a borderline psychopath, or just a caricature of a bully character, could you imagine what they would have done to Bulk and Skull? No, really, like, the fun thing about Bulk and Skull is that while they're bullies, they also have like a really kind heart to them. Like, that's the fun part of Bulk and Skull, is that they are just complete, like, it's all a front. Like, their bully is all just a front, and it's literally because, yeah, we want to be good, but we're just kind of bad at life, so we'll just go about our way. But we really love the Power Rangers. So could you imagine, because if Zag loves your bully characters, and you make them so goddamn malicious, could you imagine, like... No, I'm not... It's really hard to think, like, how bad they would have damaged Bulk and Skull as characters. It would be mind-boggling. So, anyway, sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, I fear what Zag would do to Bulk and Skull as characters, but I also fear of what they would do, like, with the villains. But Multi, I hear you say, wouldn't they just be as basic as Mohawk? That's the problem, they'd be basic. And normally this would not be a problem, but again, I look back at the comics and go, at the recent, I almost said ID, Boom Studio comics, and they've given more depth to Rita and Zed, as well as Master Vile. Like, yes, I'm aware in the show they don't really have other thing than, I'm evil! But here we actually have, like, character depth and, like, why they're so evil. I mean, yeah, Zed is egregiously evil because it's Lord Zed, and here's the thing, is, like, there's, like, a method to the malice with Zed. And it's like the Zed we knew before he married Rita, so it's not, like, goofy or anything. And I know I keep bringing up the comics, but again, Astric and Jeremy Zag wanted to make this show, like, on par with the comics, and I'm like, well, if you're going to try, then allow me to tell you why you will crash and burn in that regard, buddy. And the other thing is, they love to talk about family drama. Oh, I couldn't tell from the show that you already make, because it's very clear that the, family drama is non-existent. And yes, I know it's non-existent in the show, but in the comic, they actually bring it up. Let's also not forget that, you would basically, I shudder to what they would do with Tommy in this show. I really do. Like, I really shudder at the idea of what they would do with Tommy Oliver, and basically have him, like, I mean, yeah, it was under the evil spell and all that, but there would be, and again, I have to go back to the comics. I hate doing that, but again, you want it to be like the comics, Astric. You're gonna learn today, boy. And if you wanted to really follow the comics, Astric, you would know that Tommy Oliver was dealing with some form of PTSD after being freed from Rita's spell and after becoming the Green Ranger alongside the rest of the Power Rangers. Yeah, there's no way you would deal with PTSD. You could barely do a Secrets Revealed comic. In fact, I'm waiting in the newest episode, which from what it looks like, I'm already convinced that Marinette's going to find a way to wipe Alia's memory of knowing that she's Ladybug. The one interesting thing you did in this new season, and yeah, I'm already convinced that, I already have a feeling that I know where this is going to go. Marinette's going to wipe Alia's memory because you did nothing with it, and like, well, we're not doing anything with it, so let's just have her wipe Alia's mind of knowing that she's Ladybug, and yeah, we can just move on from that. I will be shocked if I find out that's not what happened. I will be shocked if, like, she keeps her memories of knowing that Marinette is Ladybug. And yeah, it would just, like, animation, it would be so good, but the writing would be so bad, and you can't just base, these days, an animated show off its animation. This isn't Spawn in the 90s, where it was pictures over story. We are long past that, people. So, honestly, would it have been cool to get a Power Rangers animated show? Yeah. And I still think we will at some point. I honestly think that either Hasbro will announce at some point we're getting a Power Rangers animated show and have it on Netflix or Hulu or maybe their own streaming site, or have it on Nickelodeon, wherever. I'm pretty sure we're going to see that at some point. And hell, we may even get, like, some of the actors back. We sadly can't get Trini's actor because, rest in peace. But there's a chance we could actually get all the the rest, like Amy Jo Johnston and Austin St. John. You know, we could get everyone here for an animated show if we're doing Mighty Morphin, which obviously I'm pretty sure they would. But under Zag and how much of a shit show that is behind the scenes, I'm glad it didn't happen. I'm really honestly glad that didn't happen. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I wanted to do this video. I was just watching that trailer again, and I was like, man, we really dodged a bullet. So I know this is just me rambling and raving, but you guys usually come on here to watch me ramble and rave. So I hope you got your hope you got your time. Hope you got your time's worth. Anyway, I don't say money because you're not paying for this, and I'm not making money from this. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would have been like if Zagtoons made a Power Rangers cartoon? Would you have watched it? Do you think it would have been a train wreck? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.